Alright everyone, we're continuing the second part of this video, which is how to optimize a critical role gunslinger. And we've mentioned in the previous video about species or races, ability scores and feats, so check out that video if you missed it. Anyway, well, let's get into it. So basically, after you've chosen your background, which is also mentioned in the previous video, and your character race, and your abilities, you've got your class, which is the fighter. So the gunslinger is a fighter subclass, although in the future I would like to explore alternative builds that involve using firearms for other classes. I think that's an interesting topic. We need more arcane firearm users and things like that. Why not? It'll be fun. So as a fighter, you get the constitution modifier to a D10 for your hit points. You get all armor and shields, which is interesting. You could argue the gunslinger may not need that. The weapons are simple and martial, and tools are none. Strength and constitution saving throws, and skills: acrobatics, animal handling, athletics, history, insight, intimidation, perception, and survival. You're going to take perception because it's the most useful skill in the game. You might take something else. I took athletics and survival through my background. Basically because I wanted him to be able to climb and do things like that. And survival has become handy for this character that I'm playing because he's sort of done all of the tracking and hunting and concealing the party's tracks and things like that, which fit in for my sort of cowboy character concept that I have. If you've got a different concept, go for it. You know, skills are interesting, but they don't break the game. Anyway, continuing with the fighting style, you're going to choose archery, so you get that sweet +2 to your attack rolls, made with ranged weapons. If for some reason you get a multi-class in the future that also gets one, you might want to take blind fighting or defense. Blind fighting is extra special and very useful for humans because you don't get dark vision. Halflings and Dragonborn as well. Also, if you're playing with a warlock that likes to use darkness spell and has devil's sight so that only they can see, you might need blind fighting to be able to deal with those situations. Anyway, moving on, we have the fighter features, which include second wind, which is a little bit of extra healing, and action surge, which is useful for just about every character class because you get to take 2 turns at once. These they are a little bit boring, but there you go. That's the fighters for you. But they are good and useful. And as you progress through the ASI feats, extra attacks, and indomitable that fighters get, you'll find that you do fall a little bit behind the spellcasters, unfortunately. Moving on, the gunslinger gets firearm proficiency, thank goodness, although we already had that from the gunner feat that you should have taken in the first level if you took a variant human or are using custom lineage or somehow managed to wangle a first level feat. Otherwise, you should take it as soon as you can for the other goodies that it gives you. The gunslinger also has gunsmith, which helps you repair your guns, make ammunition, and all of those sorts of things. And with Misfire, you are going to need this, and it's a major problem for the gunslinger, and really the whole subclass would be better off without it. And it's ironic that out of all of the ability of other classes to use firearms just by taking a firearm proficiency and a firearm from the core rules, Dungeons and Dragons, Dungeon Master's Guide, they would not have to misfire, but the only class that's really designed for firearms has a misfire. Why that? It's like a critical fail. Anyway. Alright, so the first problem is that the gunslinger doesn't really start getting going until 3rd level, so you kind of stuffing around with crossbows or archery until you finally get to 3rd level, which I think is one of the flaws thematically, for this class. It's not telling a good story. I think we need something that we can do it from the 1st level. The other thing is a lot of it relies on the DM, getting ammunition, getting firearms, what firearms are available, how available are they. It's the whole subclass is a constant negotiation with the DM, which makes it less than ideal, and you really don't have any guarantee of what you'll be getting into without having an understanding with the DM. And likewise for the DM, they might have different ideas about their world, and all of a sudden they've got to work out all of these other rules. So misfire is the bugbear, horrible thing in the room. So let's talk about it. And basically, whenever you make an attack roll with a firearm and the dice roll is equal or lower to the weapon's misfire score, the weapon misfires. The attack misses. The weapon cannot be used again until you spend an action trying to repair it. To repair your firearm, you must make a successful Tinker's Tools check. If your check fails, the weapon is broken and must be mended out of combat at a quarter of the cost of the firearm. Creatures who use a firearm without being proficient increase the weapon's misfire score by 1. What a horrible rule. It basically comes from Pathfinder, so we can blame them. And the reason why Pathfinder has these rules is to balance firearms because they bypass armor, which is a great idea, and actually firearms should. There's a historical and scientific and logical reasons why that should happen, and that is why people stopped wearing armor as firearms became more powerful, and that most armor will not stop a bullet. However, D&D didn't do any of this. They retained the misfire rules without actually bringing in any of the armor bypass rules. I would actually talk to your DM about getting rid of misfire. It's not official, so why not? They're welcome to change anything. And in the future, I'll be doing my own homebrew version of a gunslinger, as well as talking about the current homebrew version that I currently use with the character that I'm playing at the moment. The other thing is this misfire isn't even in the official D&D firearm description, so it's all very confusing. So I would just get rid of it. Reload. The weapon can be fired a number of times equal to its reload, and must be spend 1 attack or 1 action to reload. Horrible. I think using the bonus action is fine though, but then we need to start talking about magazines and quick reloading and things like that. What is loading? So with Renaissance weapons, it gets a bit annoying. Rather than being able to reload them, which I mentioned previously, you now have to load them, which I guess is fair enough because you've got to shove the gunpowder and the shot and the wadding and all of that stuff into it. It just makes it very cumbersome. So reload, you'll notice you get this on all of the modern and futuristic weapons. So if you're playing a Wild West campaign, I would get rid of loading and just change to reload and use a bonus action to do that, and then give them like a 6 shooter that It doesn't have to be reloaded until you fire the 6. We get the trick shots, which I've mentioned a little bit before. I think they're a great idea. It makes them feel like the battle master and has a great sort of resource control. You get more tricks at 7th, 10th, 15th and 18th level. The grip points are cool and basically makes this gunslinger a multi-attribute dependent class. But, you know, it is one way that you can manage this resource and increase the abilities of your weapons, which is good. And there's lots of options. As the gunslinger goes up level, you get stuff like quick draw, which is given too late at 7th level. It should be a 3rd level thing. Rapid repair, well, you know, Misfire sucks, so I think just get rid of it basically. 10th level to be able to repair your weapons. Anyway, lightning reload, 15th. So once again, loading sucks. If you don't use Renaissance weapons, use Western weapons. And the gunner feat actually deals with this at level 1. So why wait till level 15? 18th level. Are you going to ever play these rules? It's probably unlikely. There's some great abilities there, like hemorrhaging critical is fantastic. But just remember that at this level, other spellcasters can polymorph the gunslinger into a dragon. So is your character as powerful as an adult red dragon? No? Then just ask the spellcaster to polymorph you because your subclass is broken. Alright, so looking at the trick shots, we've got bullying shot. I would actually ignore that. It's an interesting little thing to do, but it involves charisma, and gunslinger already has enough to worry about. Dazing shot is really good. Make sure you pick that one. It makes them dizzy and they have to make a constitution saving throw or make a disadvantage on their attacks. Deadeye shot is sort of the opposite of what we just talked about. And it's good as well. I don't know. The problem with advantage and disadvantage is they don't stack, which basically means that it's easily countered by, you can have like 5 advantages and 1 disadvantage and the whole thing is wiped out. Disarming shot, it's okay. I would use it against the spellcaster trying to use a scroll or a magical wand or something like that. That could be useful. Forceful shot is definitely useful. I would definitely prioritize this one for battlefield control, and being able to push people around is kind of fun. Piercing shot is alright. At least you don't have as many risks with the misfire, and that's the problem with misfire too. The more shots you take, the more chance you have of misfiring. So basically it's penalizing you for being more skillful with your weapon. Winging shot is good though. It's a great way if you've got somebody like something flying at you and you knock them prone. It's a great way to bring them to the ground. That means they'll take falling damage as well, and you will be able to deal with them on the ground. The gunslinger also gives stats for firearms. I would actually ignore them and use the other ones that are in the Dungeon Master's Guide. And I'll do another video later talking about different firearms and comparing them and stuff. If you really, really want these, but some of these had to be made themselves, like Bad News had to be actually crafted by the players themselves as they were originally imagined, and you'll have to talk to your DM about that. Anyway, there you go. We've reached the end, and I hope you enjoyed the Gunslinger. I'm enjoying playing it, but I am playing a slightly different homebrew rules, which I'll talk about next time. We'll dig deeper into firearms as well. If you like this content, please subscribe, click like, and comment. That's giving me positive feedback, really inspires me to keep going with this. and I love reading your comments. So bye for now.